Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beantown Banter podcast.
Hunter on the move, racing back, it's over his head, it's gone, it's into the bullpen, this game is tied, this game is tied!
Rebound is on the top of the crease, Red Sox score! Bergeron!
Driving forward, diving to the goal line! A touchdown! And a title!
Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
Recording live from Boston, Massachusetts, here are your hosts, Brady Gardner and Patrick Donnelly.
And welcome to episode 22 of the Beantown Banter podcast. Here with Patrick Donnelly, I'm Brady Gardner. Patrick, how are we?
We are busy as we return to work.
Very busy,
After
yes.
a long weekend.
Yep, long weekend with President's Day. Now back here recording on a Tuesday. So yeah, we're back.
Family Day up in Canada yesterday.
What?
We have President's Day. Canada has Family Day.
Wow. How about them Canadians?
So nice.
One step ahead. Yes, they really are. Anyway, we got some news to get to. It's a little bit slower of a week, but there are still some significant headlines, and we'll be taking you through all of those within the next 45 minutes or so. So let's get started. First off, with the Boston Bruins, really the only team in consistent action this past week. And they're on fire, running off 6 wins in a row, including within the last week 4, which also was a 3-game set out in California, which they came away with 3 victories there in 4 nights. So this Bruins team doing pretty well.
Yeah, they've come out with, I think, 19 of possible 22 points through 11 games. And do we want to just hop into San Jose last night?
Oh my gosh. All right, so that's a little recent, but yes, we can.
All right, we'll do a little precursor.
Okay.
So Saturday we get the Wednesday?
What?
Tuesday or Wednesday we got a barn burner at the Garden, 6-3 win over the Blackhawks.
Tuesday.
Oh, news of the week, by the way. We're all over the place here.
We are.
News of the week. David Pastrnak.
Oh my gosh, that was so early this week.
That
Yeah.
was Monday.
Wow.
So Sunday night after a, quote, sponsorship dinner, so either entertaining sponsors or was it like a team-sponsored dinner as in like a rookie party or whatever? We don't know. But he falls around 11:30 at night on his way to his transportation, so his Uber.
What's going on there, David?
I mean, you can do the math here. There's probably some alcohol involved, but it's also February and there's icy spots, so people can slip. But we don't know. We might find out in the summer or... All in all, he fell, hurt his thumb. There was a procedure. They'll know more in 2 weeks if he will be able to play this season.
Jeez.
All right. Well, I don't know. That phrasing seems a little extreme, but basically there was a caveat in there that said this season. So maybe it's a little more extreme than just 2 weeks. And when we say 2 weeks, that means it's more team speak for like 3 to 4 because they'll reevaluate him in 2 weeks, and then they'll get him back on the ice working and holding a stick and c'est la vie and stuff. Because if he's missing this time, it's got to be on his right hand, which is his power hand. Because we saw David Krejci a couple years ago play with a broken left hand, which is for righties. You can kind of get away with it at the top of your stick. But you need the right hand to shoot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, too, just as something where a player trips outside somewhere and all of a sudden, it's a season-threatening injury. Like, I do not want to think about how that thumb must have looked after he fell. And, yeah, big blow to the Bruins, too, because he's been really, your best player of the season so far, consistently.
Yeah. We saw them overcome Bergeron. We saw them overcome Chara. This might be the most significant of the injuries this year.
Right, but so far, no sign of it at all, as they've run off 6 wins in a row, as we talked about, including 4 since he got hurt. So you had that big 6-3 win, offensive display there at home against Chicago. But then you head on this road swing, and you go through Anaheim, LA, San Jose, and you pull off 3 wins in those. And I know you want to talk about that San Jose game last night, so let's get to that.
Yeah, I mean, you lose Pastrnak, and all of a sudden your depth scoring decides to show up.
Right.
Jake DeBrusk has 4 goals in 4 games here. I think it's 5 points in those 4 games. And we get to last night. Bruins go up 3-0 in the first period. Carson Kuhlman scores his first to put him up 3-0. And all of a sudden, it's 5 seconds left in the period. Joe Thornton makes it 3-1. You're like, okay, whatever, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And you get into the second, and like 2 minutes into the second on the power play, another fluky tip that just finds its way like over all the defense and over Tuukka Rask, and Joe Pavelski ends up with the goal. And the next thing you know, it's 3-3.
Yeah.
And then I think they go back up 4-3. And then Joe Thornton comes up and ties it. 4-4
Right.
with his second of the night. And then Joe Thornton scores the hat trick to make it 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
And we're missing a goal in the first period that wasn't allowed. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But to tie the game, another fluky goal. It was a rough night for the referees.
It was.
Nesson probably pointed out 3 or 4 missed too many men on the ice penalties for the Sharks. There were high sticks hitting faces on both sides for both teams that were missed.
Mm.
And in the first period, Chris Wagner had a fluky tip that's found its way past Martin Jones. And Nesson didn't really have the greatest angle, but the Bruins had the angle from NBC on the bench, and NBC's angle made it across Twitter.
Yeah.
And the puck was pretty clearly above the goal line. You can make the argument that like the top edge of the puck is on the line, but it's standing vertical. So therefore it's not touching anything. Therefore it's across the line.
Science with Patrick.
Well, it's definitively in the white space.
Right.
But in the NHL, we can't use logic. And Bruce Cassidy said after the game they didn't really get much of an explanation. The ref just said, we went to Toronto, no goal. And Bruce is like, well, we got it right here. It shows it in the net. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Toronto's supposed to have every angle on the planet. So, whatever. C'est la vie. They score 3 in the first period. And then we get to, here we are, 5-4 game, seconds left. And Chris Wagner tips it. It's off a rebound, fluttering puck in midair. Chris Wagner drags it down.
2 feet above his head.
A blatant high stick play. But before the whistle blows to blow it dead, he shovels it into the net on the second attempt.
Mm.
And because he put it in the net legally and the first high stick wasn't called, then I guess that makes it a separate play and not reviewable.
So they had like a split second there to potentially review it, and then he put it in the net, and it became not reviewable.
What? I guess they can't review the initial high stick because it wasn't a scoring play. It would have been just a normal play the puck with the high stick, blow it dead.
Since when did hockey have a replay problem? We just finished.
Since forever.
We just finished football season.
I mean,
it feels like that was.
If we're allowed to go back like 2 minutes of gameplay to look at if the guy who got the 5th assist was offside last week.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to call that goal back, then why aren't we allowed to review? I mean, this is devil's advocate here for San Jose. Why aren't we allowed to go back and look and just blow the play dead off Chris Wagner's stick?
Yeah.
And face off in the neutral zone?
So a lot of controversy about the way it got there, but finally in overtime, things went pretty well for the Bees.
They looked pretty good for the Bees at the end of the night, but things got much worse for the referees.
Yeah, they did.
As if Peter DeBoer and the Sharks weren't heated enough. So we get into overtime, and it's a flurry of offense from the Sharks. Again, Bruce Cassidy starting overtime with Sean Corrali, Matt Grzelcyk, and Charlie McAvoy. I understand you want the defensive combo with the 2D, but why Sean Corrali, of all people? I mean, he's fast. I guess he could possess the puck, but
he's a grinder.
I'd rather Patrice Bergeron out there.
Cassidy loves his grinders.
I know. But anyways, Tuukka Rask makes 5 point-blank saves, one of which saves McAvoy's bacon because he completely lost his check behind the net. And then it ends up happening, there's a big scrum, Evander Kane behind the net gets ragdolled into the Bruins net and kind of tips it over a little bit, and I guess it knocked it off just a hair, and play goes the other way. Tuukka Rask points it out to the ref acknowledges it and does nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. And
it ends up happening, turnover. Sharks come down on a 2-on-0. Evander Kane ready to ice the game after he's had chances all night. He hit the post. Play goes dead.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do anything about the net. And Rask is like, hey, the net's off, guys. You can't score here. And Evander Kane's pissed. Peter DeBoer's pissed. And it's just a mess for the referees.
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds later, off the face-off, the Bruins get a clean exit out of their zone. Jake DeBrusk skates it out of trouble. And Evander Kane, same guy who I just praised for the entire game, just gave up, skates back to the Sharks bench when it's gives the Bruins a 3-on-2. It's just like, I don't want him, somebody go. He did the hand motion, just wave somebody out.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're a professional hockey player. You should know better.
Was that a long shift, or it was right off the draw?
That was a long shift.
Right off the draw?
It was right off the draw.
So he had a second there.
I don't understand why they kept both units out. I mean, obviously paid off the Bruins.
Yeah.
But McAvoy played a lot in that overtime, and there was two stretches in between those big moments there where both teams had guys out for a long time. I was really worried about a goal off people being tired.
Yeah.
Just a cheap garbage goal. But anyways, Evander Kane waves this guy out there, completely bad change. And we go down the ice, Jake DeBrusk, beautiful saucer pass over David Krejci. no look back to Chucky Bright Lights and
Boom.
Charlie McAvoy one time to pass Martin Jones to win the game for the Bruins.
Beautiful. And yeah, so you talk about Charlie McAvoy getting a ton of ice time there, and obviously it paid off in overtime. And the point has been made that that's really where he shines, when he has all that ice.
Oh, yeah, the game on his stick.
Well,
Chucky Bright Lights.
Okay. And that's true. He does come up with his fair share of game winners, but I think for all the criticism that he has faced in terms of his 5-on-5 play, I think that 3-on-3 play kind of showcases just how special of a player he can be.
Yeah, and it's over the past week and a half or so where he's been what we've expected, and especially last night, and then against LA, and against Colorado, specifically.
Going way back.
Specifically those games where he's been on the ball.
Yeah.
And he's been what we expected. And in 4 career games against LA, he's got, I think, 2 goals and 2 assists. And then Jake DeBrusk at SAP Center has 2 goals and an assist. And against the Sharks in 3 games has 5 points.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Huh.
Young guys loving these California trips, huh?
Yeah, apparently. And, it's good to see the Bees come away from a California trip. And obviously it's not over just yet. But they finished the furthest, West Coast portion of it. And they usually, or not usually, but they do have their struggles in these places.
They won in Anaheim for the first time in 7 years.
Yeah, so it's great to see them, especially, without their best player for the season with David Pastrnak, all of a sudden out to injury. It's great to see them, putting in these performances, and they're having to gut out some of them, and no, you wouldn't want to, give up a 3-goal lead there last night, but just going in and getting, these 3 wins here in 4 nights, I think it says a lot about your hockey team going forward here.
It certainly does. It shows the compete level. But what it doesn't show about your hockey team is it's masking your problems.
Right.
Because Don Sweeney can't go into the deadline and be like, oh, Dan Heiden's playing all right. Jake DeBrusk is off the schneid. Third line's still a ghost town, but, the top 6 is producing still. No, you can't. You have to go into the same plan you had 2 weeks ago. This team, if you're serious about competing this year, they need 2 forwards. They need a third-line center and a second-line winger.
Jeez. So this is just the problem that we keep coming back to here, because they show you their potential these last 6 games. They're doing it in every way. They're getting great goaltending. They're looking solid defensively, and they're getting production up and down the forward lines. But we know that this isn't going to happen the whole season because it hasn't so far. So, I would not be surprised to see the Bruins say, you know what, there are teams like Tampa's out there. They're still just a wagon. Toronto can probably beat you there. Depends. That game probably comes down to which team has home field or home ice advantage. There are just so many teams that can outduel you right now, but maybe not in 2-3 years when they start having trouble with salaries and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Bruins said, you know what, let's just see what we got here, just like they did last year, really.
But you also have Patrice Bergeron, who's going to be 34.
Yeah, that's what we come back to every time.
David Krejci is going to be 33. Brad Marchand is going to be 32.
Zdeno Chara is going to be 78.
Zdeno Chara is going to be 42 next month.
Next
month he's going to be 42.
Jeez.
And he's a UFA this year, and you got to wonder how much he's going to ask because he's probably back for another year or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he also hampers your left side of the defense for the prospect coming up, but that's for another day. So, are you doing these guys a disservice if you're not going for it this year? Because they're showing you right now what they can be.
Yeah, well, doesn't this happen to every team? There are these veterans on every team that aren't going to get their shot at a cup. Is it for the players or is it for the franchise? Because if you're playing for the franchise, you're saving up your assets, you're keeping these prospects around, and you're building for, when these other bigger teams fall off. And then you can get 3 and 5 years or do, whatever the Blackhawks did 10 years ago, go on one of these runs. But feels like you can't do that right now. So
we're talking about being good long term. And I think if you go for it this year, you're still going to be okay long term. It might set you back a year in this development stage, depending on what you have to give up. But we measure franchise success in wins.
Mm-hmm.
We measure franchise success in championships. And if you're good for the next 5-6 years and you don't win anything, what good is it?
That's true.
Are you the St. Louis Blues, the San Jose Sharks of the 2020s? I don't know.
That is interesting. I don't know. And it's also tricky because we talk about the whole just plethora of prospects it seems like they have, but don't seem to be panning out so much yet. And so it's also a matter of, do you trust that these are the guys that are going to, fill these gaps when Bergeron's gone, when Krejci's gone? Who are the next guys to hop in right there? Because it doesn't feel like you have another Bergeron right around the corner.
No, you absolutely don't have another number one center in the pipeline. You have a guy who's probably going to be a fantastic 2 guy in Jack Studnicka coming up. He's probably maybe a fringe 1 center. He's definitely going to be a 2.
Okay.
And you have Trent Frederick and Jacob Forsback at Carlson, who are going to be anywhere from 2 to 3s, depending on what ends up happening at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have that one guy that's going to have to come in free agency or the draft or whoever. And, I mean, you have Pastrnak. He's the guy for the foreseeable future on the right side. You're not quite sure what you have in Zach Senyshyn. Carson Kuhlman's probably going to be a bottom 6 player for his career. I'm sorry. That's just the hard truth. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's only played a handful of games, but that's
undrafted, right?
So. Undrafted, signed out of Minnesota Duluth. I mean, that's just what he's going to be.
Yeah.
Sean Corrali, you know what he is. Noah Chari, he's 27. He's not a young guy anymore. And Chris Wagner, Joakim Nordstrom, yeah, they're role players. On the left side, you got Jake DeBrusk and Peter Slarek, who knows if he's here. And you have Dan Heinen, who can play both. And apparently Jake DeBrusk can play both. But
haven't seen it yet, but apparently.
I mean, he scored a goal last night on playing both. Oh, no, he's back to the left. Slarek was out last night.
Right.
Whoops. But it's just it's the fine line. Because you can... Sure, go out and try and get a guy with term. What's it going to cost you? And if you get a guy with term, then it softens the blow of giving up one of these young guys.
And your guy with term is?
My guy with term's Kyle Palmieri.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think they're moving him.
No.
I'm thinking cost effectiveness, Charlie Coyle, Tyler Toffoli, but the Kings said they don't really want to move Tyler Toffoli. There's an interesting David Backes for Ilya Kovalchuk swap, which... I wouldn't be very opposed to, but that's not also a long-term solution. That's a 2-year solution. Yeah,
and after that power play goal that Kovalchuk scored against you there again in that meeting in L.A., I'd be more interested. I came around a little bit. David Backes would never do that.
That shot.
It's a great shot. It's good footwork to get into position to get into that shot. Backes cannot do that.
And even if Kovalchuk's playing on your third line, and replacing Backes on your power play with Ilya Kovalchuk in front of the net, or wherever he happens to slot. Like, my God, oh, wow.
You're right there.
Wow, we got a little bit of dry throat action there, even though I just took a sip of water.
Nice.
My God, what a difference that would be.
Right. I mean, it's like Rick Nash, but with less risk, it seems.
I don't know about less risk, because he's also 35, going on 36, 37 in the last 2 years.
And I feel like you gave up, a little bit more in that Nash deal than you would be giving up in a straight swap between Kovalchuk and Backes.
Yeah, and you can assume there's salary retention on both sides, because the Kings seem very willing to retain salary, and it's just a matter of, do you give up a late-round pick with Backes, which, sure. I mean, if you give up a 5th or 6th or a 7th, go for it. But, I mean, realistic younger guys with term. I mean, there's Toffoli, Chris Kreider, Palmieri, and Charlie Coyle. And I like Coyle because at this point in his career, he's 15 to 20 goal guy, 40 to 50 point guy, and he can play center or wing. Mm-hmm. And so if right now Minnesota's lines are different every night, so you don't really know what role he's best in, at least this year. And so, I mean, you can use him to plug in third-line center. You can use him for second-line right wing.
Yeah. I mean, a 15-goal guy in second-line right wing, I feel like that. I mean, that's not going to do it. But
40 points is very middle-of-the-road second-line production.
Right.
And right now, Jake DeBrusk is like 28, but most of that is goals.
Interesting. Yeah. I think, personally, they're just going to stand pat. I think as much as it'd be nice to move people and try to make something happen, really jumpstart this team going towards the playoffs, I just don't see them doing it. I think Don Sweeney is not Danny Ainge.
Because Don's afraid to lose a trade.
That's right. He saw his predecessor lose plenty of them, so he's afraid to do it. So yeah, I think he's just going to stick with it, unfortunately. But only time will tell. When is the deadline?
Next Monday, 3 p.m.
Less than a week.
Yep. But we also see Don come out of trades that, like, out of the woodwork, nobody could have predicted.
Yeah.
Last year, Tommy Wingles. Year before that, Drew Stafford. And Lee Stepniak, John Michael Lyles. So, I mean, you could probably look for a couple depth guys that can add.
Yeah, I bet they would add, but, what did Brian Giunta do to you last year?
Brian Giunta chipped in a couple goals.
Okay, great. What did those goals do for you down the stretch?
I mean, he didn't play in the playoffs, so,
exactly.
He barely did.
Exactly.
But Brian Giunta wasn't your problem in the playoffs last year. I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't say that. I just said if that's your addition, then what's it really going to do?
All right, but you can add Lee Stepniak for nothing but cash. He can be this year's version of Brian Giunta. And after toying with him all year long, Providence finally added him to the roster on an official PTO.
And he scored.
And he scored a goal and assist on Friday night.
First game.
Yep.
Get this guy. But he's not going to put you over Toronto. That's the problem. He's not going to put you over the edge. He's going to help you down the stretch, sure.
I mean, Toronto, if the Bruins have home ice against Toronto, I like their chances. And right now, they have home ice against Toronto.
Yeah, so I didn't even realize this, but the Bruins snuck their way up to second best in the NHL.
Well, not quite. Calgary won last night, so
Dang
they're
it.
still waiting their turn.
Third in the NHL.
Yep, but the Bruins win tomorrow in Vegas, and the Calgary loss whenever they play next. The Bruins are second in the NHL.
Yeah, so we do have to acknowledge that, we talk about the Bruins and they seem like dysfunctional at times, and, it's just their year. They're third in the NHL. Like, they are a strong team.
Third most points, technically fourth.
Mm-hmm.
They have the third most points in the league. They're technically fourth because of whatever the tiebreaker between them and San Jose is.
It's not head-to-head. Because we have the head-to-head now.
No, San Jose has 35 regulation and overtime wins. The Bruins have 34. That's the tiebreaker.
Well, San Jose will have their chance to get revenge on the Bruins as they'll come back next Tuesday. But before that, pretty slow week for the Bees here. First taking on Vegas down there in Nevada on Wednesday. Then Saturday, they head to St. Louis. So quiet week for the Bruins, but definitely well-deserved.
Tough games.
Yeah, tough games. Especially, at the end of a road trip, never easy. But I think all the time that you're getting off here, I think they'll be all right.
I mean, St. Louis has won like 10 straight.
Yeah.
And they're looking like the team that I picked to win the I almost picked to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Did you really?
I really thought about it.
Oh, gosh.
Their roster is crazy.
Who'd you end up picking?
I don't remember. It
Uh-huh.
might have been St. Louis. It might have been St. Louis.
Maybe a little bit of selective
I think it
memory
was
there.
Tampa I chose.
Well, and 90% of the hockey community.
Nikita Kucherov's on pace for 135 points.
Yeah.
He's 99 right now.
It's nuts.
He had a 5-point night last night. Anyways, St. Louis has won 10 in a row. Vladimir Tarasenko. Whoa. I can't talk. Vladimir Tarasenko is a man on a mission right now.
He is.
After
almost being traded.
I know. Ryan O'Reilly has been a stalwart all season. And Jordan Binnington, is 12-0-2, I believe, since being called up from the AHL with like 4 shutouts.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then Vegas. Wow, this is bad. Vegas is having. They have a really bad start. They were like, oh, there's the expansion team everyone's looking for. And all of a sudden, here they are, third or second in the Pacific Division.
Right. You might need to excuse yourself to get more water there, buddy. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how the Bruins do because, like you said, Vegas, a team that's kind of on the rise after a slow start, and then St. Louis, red hot as of late. But it seems like the Bruins tend to excel against these kind of teams. Talked about San Jose being one of the hottest teams in the NHL. You beat them last night, back when Buffalo had that strong win streak. Where have they gone? You played them very well during that stretch too. So I think
Chicago snapped their 7-game.
That's right. Streak. So the Bruins, are able to kind of get up for these big games against hot teams. So I think the Bees have a good shot here, especially they're coming in, with their own win streak, 6 games. So, and it's 8 wins in their last 9. So, and the other one was a shootout win or shootout loss. So this is a hot Bruins team. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So I would back their chances here this week, especially finally getting some time off after that stretch there in California.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts on the Bees before we move along?
No final thoughts on the Bees.
No final thoughts on the
Just
Bees.
Looking forward to the trade deadline.
Well, we gave them about half of our time here, so I think it's well deserved. They're the only team really in action this week. Celtics did have a couple games, and we'll get to that now. So 2 big games for the C's after a pretty ugly loss there to the LA Clippers on the Saturday before. So Tuesday night they were able to beat the 76ers 112-109, and then the next night coming back home to play the Pistons 118-110. Both of those wins without Kyrie Irving, and Boston Celtics once again able to kind of work as a team better without their best player.
Blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh.
Terry Rozier's not going to do it for 82 games.
The more I see them play without Kyrie, the more I think they're better without Kyrie. They are?
That may be.
Okay.
But how are you going to get Anthony Davis or Kevin Durant this summer without Kyrie Irving?
I don't know. It's tricky.
Guys, come play with Terry Rozier, your starting point guy, who is the most inconsistent man on the planet and only plays well when he's a starter.
I don't know. I mean, I could be going all green team here from the last couple of years, but it almost feels like You don't need to build your team the way that other teams have built themselves. You don't need to be the Golden State who attracts every star and it just all, mixes perfectly and you get just championship after championship. You don't need to be luring stars. It's proven for other teams, but you had your best success when you were just an island of misfit toys.
Because you were an island of misfit toys whose stars were younger than they are now, and they're now stars, as in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Okay. So then would other stars like Anthony Davis want to come play with those guys?
No.
No? Why not?
Because, all right, we got Papa Al, who's on the back nine. He's like 33 now, or he will be 33 next year.
Yeah.
You got Jaylen Brown, who had a very bad start, and now he's what we thought he was going to be. And, all right, Jason Tatum's your only real star if you don't have Kyrie Irving. Because who's your who's your guards? You got Hayward, who we don't really know yet. I mean, obviously, we're back to Hayward. We don't know. He's been excellent in February. He's been excellent since the new year.
Leading scorer there against the 76ers, 26 points.
Yeah, he's been excellent since the new year.
Leading assister against the Pistons, 8. He's playing well.
He is. He's playing
when Kyrie's out of the lineup. Ooh.
Because we don't know how to work the ball around. And that's just going to come with playing together as a team.
Okay.
That's just going to come.
Well, the one thing I would say about Kyrie is he is definitely the guy, if you find yourself in those playoff positions where you're playing against the Warriors or, at this rate, even the Raptors, and you're taking on those guys and you need a big shot late, he's the only guy in your roster that can do that.
Yeah, he's going to hit a shot from like 60 feet out, like a step over the half-court line.
Yeah, so, that's where you can't really deny that this team does need Kyrie. Because when you get to those big moments, if you get to them, and you don't crap your pants there in the first round of the playoffs to the Milwaukee's good this year. That was last year. So yeah, you're going to need Kyrie down the stretch if you get there. But it just feels like right now, and you're taking on good teams in the regular season, it feels like you're better without him, and that's not great.
It's not.
Yeah.
But we see here they've gone 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. And they eclipsed Philadelphia for 4th in the East. They're now 2nd in the Atlantic. They're only about, they're 1 game back from, or 6.5 back from Milwaukee. Only a couple back from Toronto.
Yeah.
Get hot, stay hot.
Sure, they're right there. Yeah, without their best player. Yes.
But the losses mixed in there have just been they haven't been frequently. And sometimes they've been bad, but sometimes they've been close. But they're that sounds so dumb. But for the by and large here, since about November when they finally snapped out of it, and beginning of December, they've by and large pretty much been what we thought they were going to be. And they've been winning a lot more than they've been losing for the last couple months.
Yeah.
It's just the losses get magnified because they happen to be pretty bad.
I'd give you that. And, they've only lost 3 games here since January 16th, so they're doing something right.
Yeah.
You were at that game, so good luck, Charlie.
I must be the good luck.
I think you must. They're playing well.
I've seen them beat the Raptors twice.
It's just that they're not playing well when they're at full strength, which is such reverse psychology.
It's frustrating.
It's definitely frustrating, but it's true. It's just they're still struggling to figure it out as a whole unit, but they have definitely been successful here as of late, beating good teams in the 76ers and Pistons and teams that you sometimes struggle against.
Yeah.
Maybe not the 76ers. You're usually able to beat them.
You own the Sixers.
Yeah, you own the Sixers, but they put up a good fight every time. So, but yeah, good to see the C's in the win column again going into the All-Star break. And a couple of storylines there at the All-Star game down in Charlotte. First up, Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say winner of the skills competition.
Winner of the skills challenge, Jason Tatum. Hits a half-court shot to beat Trae Young out of nowhere. And then after missing 2 games, Kyrie Irving plays in the All-Star game. Whatever. It's a warm-up, whatever.
I didn't love that.
I wasn't crazy about it either.
On the surface, I didn't love it. I was like, you can't play for your team, but then you come out and, just kind of mess around there in the All-Star game.
But he's got to court. He's got to court the big guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, you see those videos of him there.
In the tunnel?
Oh,
man.
I don't like that.
What?
Oh, you mean...
They're thinking you're talking about New York?
Yes. They're not talking about...
If I'm worried about anything, it's tampering.
Oh, okay. Wow. I appreciate your positivity here. But yeah, I think they're talking about someplace that's not Boston.
What was it, 2 years ago? Isaiah Thomas was there and was talking to Al Horford. They got that picture. And then last year was or the year before that, it was Kyrie talking to Gordon Hayward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's worked.
I guess so.
It's kind of the writing's on the wall.
Interesting. You just think they're coming here.
Got his mission.
I'm not convinced that they're coming here, but who knows?
Kevin Durant.
Another storyline there too at the All-Star game. Jason Tatum coming out and saying, "We're winning the championship this year." Like he literally said, like Jason Tatum on February 16th said that we're gonna win the championship.
Yeah, that's when you save in the Snapchat group chat.
Okay.
And you go back and scroll for it later. See when you said this?
Yeah.
But I mean, he said he wants to play his entire career in Boston, which I would love.
Everybody
to have.
says that.
I would love
Everybody
to have him
says.
here. No, I would love to have him here.
Yeah.
To
win.
And Anthony Davis saying the Celtics are on his list and we're never off his list. Take that, Papa Davis.
Oh, I'm looking at the short term here with Tatum saying that, because I think the NBA is really the only league where when players say something like that, you almost believe them, because it's such an individual, like, specific league. Like, if you have the best player, LeBron, you're gonna be in contention. So if you have a star,
the Lakers might not even make the playoffs with LeBron.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he'll get them there.
You think so?
You saw the way he got them to that win
After he traded
against
the
the Celtics.
entire team.
When he wants to show
After
up,
Rajon Rondo hit a buzzer beater. That wasn't LeBron.
LeBron doesn't miss the playoffs. I'm just saying, when you have these stars come out and they say they're going to do something, they have a good shot of doing it. So I know it's ambitious for Tatum to be saying, "Yep, we're winning the championship," and of course he's going to say that. But I think when you have a budding superstar like this, I think you can almost take him a little bit more at his word, because he can put the team on his back, he can get the guys around him, and he can control his own performance and ultimately lead you to victories.
I mean, the Lakers are 3 or 4 games back of a playoff spot here. They're 13 games back of Golden State, which they're not catching. But they've lost 2 in a row. They're 3-7 in their last 10. I don't know. I don't know if LeBron's enough, especially when he tries to trade the entire team and beast with one of the best coaches in the NBA.
It's true. I don't
Luke
know.
Walton is such a bad liar. Me and LeBron get along just fine. No, you don't. He tried to trade your entire team that you spent years building.
Well, yeah, because LeBron doesn't wait around, you know. So that's why I find it hard to believe that LeBron's going to miss the playoffs this year, because he's not here to rebuild. He's here to chase the championship. So if he's going to have to put up 40 points,
There's only so much he can
15
do.
rebounds, and 10 assists a game, he's going to do it.
But if he's going to put up 40 points, then they're going to lose 100 to 40. Pretty much.
It's interesting.
That's extreme, but
yeah,
pretty much.
Okay.
If nobody else can score.
Right. Well, that's certainly interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how they end up putting things together here with the Celtics now. These next couple weeks, because they do have some challenges coming up. They have this Thursday with Milwaukee heading out there to play the Eastern Conference leading Bucks. And then they have the Bulls on Saturday. So again, another kind of not shorter week, but kind of a quieter week. But a good team there to start things off with the Bucks. We'll see how they're able to bounce back from the All-Star break and get Kyrie back into the lineup. See how that ends up. Maybe this time will be the one that's different. I don't know if I'm optimistic.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I mean, they don't play on Mondays, so that doesn't take away from the Bruins trade deadline. Nice to listen.
Of course. Yeah, you're going to be refreshing Twitter the whole day. Anyway.
Won't you?
Not as much as you will be. So moving along, got your New England Patriots. Not too much going on with the Pats, obviously. You're still kind of coming back from winning the Super Bowl, and you've got all the celebrations and stuff out of the way, and now you're officially moving along into the offseason. But something interesting here with the offseason, Rob Gronkowski has been a regular at Gillette Stadium in the wake of the Super Bowl. Do you take anything from that, or is it just going there for treatment? Just finishing out.
Working out. He's fine. He'll be back.
Whoa.
He'll be back.
Whoa.
Why? Do you take that as he's retiring?
No.
He's going in, signing papers and stuff, getting the documents ready.
I didn't say that. I take that as he's still recovering from the 2018 season. Because he said he took some good shots, and so he's probably going in there, he's getting worked on by the training staff and being on his way. I don't think he's in there catching passes from Tom.
Well, yeah, no. He's probably in there, treatment, and then using the facility to work out or whatever.
Casually.
Yeah.
Not like I'm getting into shape for the next season. I don't think he's there yet.
No, just maintaining form.
Yeah, but it is interesting, when you listen to Teddy Bruschi in his appearances on ESPN, and he talks about how, with these Belichick teams, it's always like, don't make a decision immediately after the Super Bowl or after your playoff run comes to an end, because that's when you're most emotional. And I think that's probably what we're seeing a lot of right now, because it feels like the Patriots are just in a standstill. Like, you're still coming off that high of winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Feels like nothing's happened.
Yeah, you're waiting for the draft.
You're waiting for the draft.
Pretty much.
It's just kind of a question of when do the things start to begin? When do you start hearing from the McCourty brothers or Gronkowski or who knows who else?
Yeah, it's obviously going to come in the next month or so, probably, once everyone's done with their treatments and vacations and they've had time to think. But, news of the week, Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham. There was a report that Odell Beckham almost came to the Patriots mid-season.
Really?
Via trade.
I didn't hear about that.
Squashed at the last second.
I wonder what we would have given up. A
lot.
Yeah, I'll say.
And then Antonio Brown wants to be traded. That's nothing.
But not here. Or the Steelers said they would trade him to anyone except for AFC North teams and the Patriots.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's what they said, which is pretty funny. But I don't know if you'd want Antonio Brown anyway. Just feels like he commands a lot of the ball. And you're not the kind of offense that can do that.
Randy Moss. You were able to tame Randy Moss.
It's a different star. 10 years later, stars have more pull, I think.
Okay.
I think it's, as much as we like to say you come into the Patriot system and you adopt the Patriot way and whatever, I think just the way the NFL is these days, it would not be as easy as it was with Moss 10 years ago. Okay. Any other thoughts on the Pats? Not really. It's still kind of slow. You do just hope that you start to get these answers on players coming or leaving relatively soon, because then you give Bill and the rest of the personnel group there, or I guess scouting team, a little bit more time to try to figure something out to plug these gaps. Anyway, moving along, last team here, Boston Red Sox, starting spring training here within the next week. I believe their first spring training game, unofficially because it's against Northeastern, is this Friday. So it'll be finally getting back into action. Almost baseball season again. I know you don't care.
Well, they don't have a closer. So.
That's true. You don't have a closer, and it seems unlikely, as was it Tom Warner?
Yeah.
I think he said, you're unlikely to be signing Kimbrel. So
1 year, just throw cash at him for 1 year. 1 year. Big news of the week, kind of, was John Henry just coming out and saying they botched the Lester negotiations. Yeah,
we knew that. Yeah, we knew that. Henry also said that spending more money helps. That's the quote that they provide here on ESPN. But just talking about the teams with the bigger payrolls often win. Henry himself, your owner, the guy who's signing all these checks, says spend more money.
Yeah.
And for some reason, you're not spending this money.
Hey, Larry Lucchino.
Oh yeah.
And then we had Rob Manfred saying that, just absolutely refuting that he doesn't believe that teams that spend more and have the higher payroll win more. And it's like, all right, Rob, just ignore facts.
Yeah, interesting.
News of the day, though, Manny Machado.
Yeah, and this doesn't really relate to the Red Sox too much, so this is kind of transitioning us into just a little bit of national news as we close out. But yeah, Manny Machado today signing with the San Diego Padres. Why?
Well, reportedly, because their owner's saying it's not true, but everyone's calling BS because it's just probably down to a physical and an actual signature.
Really?
Yeah, but
why the Padres?
Why not? They can throw him a hunk of cash. He can just play a team that might play for a wild card spot every now and then.
Oh, great! A wild card spot, a playoff appearance.
He doesn't want to play for anything except money. You saw it in the World Series. He looked disenchanted. He struck out on the last pitch to end the World Series. We're getting into cliches here, but he's a punk, as a quote we've all been told here and there. Mm-hmm. And if they throw you 10 years, $300 million, that's living in a pretty nice area for 10 years with a nice paycheck, why not? And opt out at year 5.
I don't know. It feels like the Baltimore of the West.
Yeah.
It's a team, great stadium. You can't fill it though. You're promising. That doesn't mean anything. I don't know. It just feels like he's gone nowhere. Except for now he is.
He's on the West Coast, and he's got a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, he's got hundreds of millions of dollars to his name too,
yes.
and job security.
Largest contract in North American free agent history.
Is that true?
Yeah.
10 years, $300 million.
$300 million.
Is that the final? Isn't that what he was asking for?
Yeah. So now it's reported Harper might get $320.
Really?
From
just to one up him.
Yeah, why not?
That'd be pretty crazy. I wonder if that was I wonder if it was a deadlock between them. Like they didn't want to sign because they both wanted to have the biggest contract in history.
Maybe, and Machado was just like, screw it. I got this fat load of cash.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Padres, you got Eric Hosmer, you signed last year. They got a kid coming up, what's his name? Texted it to you earlier.
I've never heard of him before.
Tatis Jr.
Who is this?
I'm not a baseball guy. I vaguely remember hearing about him, but he's supposed to be one of their promising prospects.
Great. Love prospects.
So you signed Hosmer last year. You signed Machado this year.
3 players.
Your infield's looking pretty good.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so, they're not...
3 guys!
I'm not saying they're going to be good. So, woohoo, 3 guys. But you're not going to be a basement dweller, at least, because you're going to have some guys carrying the load of the offense. Didn't they got Anderson Espinosa in the Drew Pomeranz deal.
Yeah.
Is he ready? Is he going to turn into what people think he's going to turn into? Who knows? But
I don't know. Just feels like...
You got a decent farm. A couple years down the line, who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
And if baseball is going to become like the NBA, which it kind of is after this offseason with the big stars controlling everything, then Manny Machado becomes a draw for bigger names.
It's true. And he definitely has the location on his side.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have the fan base? Does he have the division? The division with the former NL champs and the Dodgers and the Giants who are trying to get back going again, and the Diamondbacks who are always right there. What's the other team? Another team that's better than them?
Couldn't tell you.
I'll find it real quick.
AL West?
It's not AL. It's
NL.
NL West.
Hard.
The Rockies, who made it into playoffs this year.
Yeah.
So that's a good division.
Making a good division even better.
Oh, great. Individually, sure. But you're not going to do much to the Padres.
Asses in the seats. People will go watch and see Machado.
Yeah. I guess. So it kind of works out for both parties there.
And visitor teams coming in. More of their fans come.
Huh. So that's why...
Let's look at the match between Machado and Kershaw. Let's go... Former teammates. Let's go see... What's his face? Clay Buchholz against... Machado.
Oh God! See me his brains bashed.
Trevor Story duke it out at the plate with Manny Machado, the offensive firepower there. It's selling seats. The Diamondbacks might take a step back after they traded Goldsmith.
It's a good point. I forgot they did that. Yeah, I just think Machado could have done better. That's what
financially for the organization and for him, it's fine.
Yeah, sure. You're getting your money, and they're getting the fans in because they got that star power now.
Jersey sales, ticket revenue.
Sure, they're fine with it. And they have the money to spend for sure because they have no stars at all.
It's them and Hosmer.
I don't know. It just feels like you had this big player who can completely change a franchise. If he goes to a team like the Rockies, sure. Like a team that's right there.
Chicago, the White Sox.
Sure, a team that was right there. If you could be that last piece, and they could go for a run.
Yeah, this year is supposed to be the White Sox big step, and he could have been a big part of that.
Yep, and now he joins a 66-win team who were 25 wins back. And can he win 25 games alone?
No. They'll hit 80 wins.
Yeah, so great.
And they might push for a wild card.
Whoop-de-doo. You're not getting past the bigger teams in the conference. I don't know. Just feels like if you're Machado, it seems like you're wasting away a little bit. But that's not what he wants.
No.
If he wants the money, then good for him. He certainly got it.
If he happens to end up in a situation where he can win a ring, he has that opt-out after year 5.
That's crazy.
Player option.
5. So half of the contract.
Yep.
Jeez.
Who knows?
Interesting.
You can't blame a guy for wanting the money, though.
Yeah. That's true. And we'll see with Harper, because he definitely does want the money, too. My guess with the Phillies, he's just been rumored with the Phillies forever, feels like, so I would say he'll go there. They have a little bit more potential, before they fell off a cliff last season.
Yeah.
So, maybe he's the one that makes them suddenly relevant. They're, was it AL? No, that's NL East.
NL East, NL Central, one of those.
I think the Central's the Cardinals, I think that's the East, with the Braves.
NL East, yes.
Braves, Marlins.
Braves, Marlins, Mets, Phillies,
yeah,
Nationals.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, imagine if Bryce Harper goes to the Phillies and that's to play the Nationals 5 series a year.
Oh, no. Bryce. That'd be a little much.
Oh, no.
I feel like that's something he would like, though.
That'd be a kick in the nuts for Nationals fans.
Yeah, it would. He'd love it, though. He likes to be that villain, I think.
He does.
Anyway, that's a lot of baseball news. Any other news around all of sports ever?
I got nothing really except like in the NHL, obviously trade season heating up. We got Edmonton making a couple moves. You gotta wonder what's on the horizon for them. Maybe a little Alex Chiasson action to the Bruins. BU alum.
Ooh.
On his way to scoring 20-25 this year with like no assists.
All right.
So you got another Jake DeBrusk there.
If you were to make a hot take on the NHL trade deadline of someone that's going to move somewhere, what would it be?
Hot take. I'm going to say Mark Stone stays in Ottawa. Matt Duchene.
Wow, we're getting many of them. Here we go.
Matt Duchene goes to Winnipeg.
Get the pens out, folks.
Wayne Simmons goes to Nashville. Florida makes a bid for Bobrovsky and Panarin, but I think only one of them moves.
This before the deadline?
By Monday, 3 p.m.
What? That's an off-season thing, but okay. I like hot takes.
No, Bobrovsky and Panarin are both unrestricted this summer.
Eesh.
So Columbus has the opportunity to trade them. And so Columbus here, you can trade both of them and flip your return for guys who can help you right now in the playoffs because you're a playoff-bound team. So, I mean, I think one of them will move. Florida's going to make a stab at both. Who else am I forgetting for big-name guys?
Oh, my
I think
God.
that might be,
Yeah,
Thomas Vanek, that's the name to look out for. And then, like I said, Alex Chiasson on the Oilers. Toffoli, Kreider, Kevin Hayes, BC kid, Boston kid.
Yeah.
I mean, this is shaping up. We say this a lot. This is shaping up to be one of the best trade deadlines in a while because it's actually marquee talent available.
Nothing's going to happen.
Probably.
You always get excited.
The NHL, it sucks at the deadline.
Yeah, it's always something where you get excited and you're like, oh yeah, here comes the deadline, so many great names, and nothing happens. It's like that thing in the middle of the season to like get you excited about hockey again, and then one move is like, oh cool, like Evander Kane last year. It was like, oh yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And it just gets you there through to the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, with the Bruins not having much depth, deep playoff success recently, what's been most exciting for me the last few years has been deadline, the draft, and free agency.
The draft isn't exciting to you?
Trade season.
I don't know. Draft never really has like immediate impact. It's always like throw in Providence.
No. I mean, top 5 might have immediate impact, but I'm talking about like the trades that happened in the draft.
Oh.
I mean, there was all the talk a couple years ago, the Bruins packaging those 3 firsts to go up to 3 and get Noah Hannafin. Obviously never happened. Here we are with DeBrusk, Zaboral, and Sinishin. But yeah. Potential. We have the potential for big stuff to happen.
Right. It's always about that. A lot of potential here. A lot of potential. That might be my my title for this.
A lot of potential.
There's just a lot of potential around.
There's a lot of potential everywhere. The Celtics are playing well. The Bruins are playing well. We got the deadline coming up. Red Sox starting spring training with the draft coming up. The Patriots. Potential everywhere.
If
you want to talk about the draft for the Patriots, the draft is the definition of potential. That's how you're drafting guys.
Wow.
The deadline is the definition of potential. Where you're trading for guys with the potential to help your team. And then the Bruins and Celtics are rolling. You have the potential to move up in the standings and make a deep playoff run.
Oh my God.
I just did the whole show for you in 30 seconds.
Get him the oxygen mask.
Get him a bottle of water.
Wow. All right, folks. Finishing off with a bang here. I think that just about does it. I don't think we can get anywhere after that one. So
no, I don't think we can.
There you go. Well,
we're gonna go sprint off to class.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. This has been another edition of the Beantown Banter podcast, and we will be back again next week with trade deadline recap. Red Sox